I'm thinking in his brain, I'm not like those other Negroes, that it doesn't like apply to him.
That concept, the I be a vote for Donald Trump.
Oh Lord,
like those, not get those Mexicans, not us. Get those Latinx, not us. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? You've tuned in to Just Drawz, the podcast that explores hot topics and various experiences among same-gender loving Black men. In each episode, we offer raw, vulnerable, and stripped-down perspectives to give voice to our frequently overlooked population. Here, we don't just scratch the surface, we dive deep, peeling back the layers of our experiences as well as heteronormative stereotypes. Let's get into this week's episode.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Just Drawz, the podcast where we keep it vulnerable,
raw, stripped down,
and authentically just
us.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Darius, aka DMC.
So grab a drink.
Or keep your hands on the wheel.
Readjust your support. And
let's get into it.
All right. So tonight, we're coming from Dear Abby's living room.
There's a lot of plastic on this furniture.
It could be, Dear Abby, old white lady. I don't know if she had plastic, but it's probably
I'm sure she
mothballs.
Did. Mothballs, plastic, and flowered prints. Yeah.
Right.
And a divan, a chifforobe.
Right.
Potpourri. Potpourri. What's the other thing? Divan, chifforobe, Chesterfield, all of that.
All of the funny furniture that nobody ever really buys.
Knows about. Exactly.
Yeah, right. It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So tonight, coming from Dear Abby's living room is appropriate because we're going to be getting into unsolicited advice.
Volume 2.
So this is our second edition of that. And last time we had John come in. This time I've got my friend Terico joining us. So welcome to Just Drawz, Terico. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing well.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Good deal.
We've been trying to get you for a while, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
It's all good. You're here now, and that's what's important.
That's right.
All right. So, Terico, tell us a little bit about yourself. Anything that you care to share today. And then after that, we'll get into the show.
Sure. I'm born and mostly raised here in Atlanta. 33 years old. I have a podcast as well called Unfortunately Human. We're actually in the midst of doing our 4th season now.
Nice.
It's coming along very slowly but surely. We actually have recorded 2 episodes. One of them was really not great. The other one is just in the editing process. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right. So as I said, tonight we're coming from Dear Abby's living room. So we're doing unsolicited advice.
And by the way, I'm in my Spike Lee. For those of you that are watching, Spike Lee get up because we're going to try to help these people do the right thing. So go ahead.
Well, not necessarily the right thing, but they'll be doing things.
No, I'm going to try to steer them the right way. So.
Well, as if you've been with us before, you know that what we did in the first episode of this series, I scoured Reddit, found some questions from different subreddits, and brought them to us to talk about and give some insight. So I want everyone to remember, because this needs to be said, we are answering these questions as if we were putting these situations. We're not telling you what to do. We're just saying what we would do. Don't do what we do. If you like what we do, that's fine, but I'm not telling you what to do if these situations apply to you. All right? Let's go. First question. All right. So this is coming from the subreddit advice. It's coming from Jake. So Jake has a friend that wants to order some food that he caters, but doesn't want to pay. So let's read it. I cater for people. I post the food on my socials for marketing. A friend saw and said he wants a tray of the food made. I told him, sure, it costs this much for a tray, but it's all sold out this batch. But next order I will ask if he wants to get an order together. He said, okay, 3 days ago, I got a new order, so I've been asking friends if they want to join in on this order as it's cheaper this way. I told that one friend, hey, I'll be making that dish again. Do you want a tray now? He said yes. I said, it is not free. I told him the cost of the tray. Then he said, okay, he doesn't want it. What? So what do I do? Make him a tray for free or don't bother? He knows I do this for a living. I don't know how to feel bad, but also feel like expecting food worth a lot for free just because he's a friend is a little much. It's also because of this. It's not the first time he's done this. It's also because it's not the first time he's done this, probably more than 10 times, but I always give in to save the friendship. But now I'm kind of in the say no era. All right. So, Terico, you're the guest. What do you think about this situation?
I'm saying hell no. I'm not making you food for free. I mean, specifically, it's like it's my business, right? So if you want to support your friends and their livelihood, maybe a discount is okay here and there, but not free. Like if this is how I make my living, my day to day, it's my business. I wouldn't do it for free. Not me personally. I would again offer like a friend discount, maybe 10%, something like that. But I wouldn't just put my heart and soul into this food and then, give it to somebody for free. Friend or not, I have to make a living and I have to eat, and pay the light bill. So that's not going to pay the light bill.
Exactly. Right. I'm totally with you on that. I feel like the price is the price. Now, as your friend, what I would do is, hey, I'll give you a discount because you're my friend, but I'm not going to just let you have this for free when you know that this is my livelihood. Now, if I felt like, okay, I've got an extra serving, maybe I'll let you have some little extra that I just can't pack because it's just not going to fit into the tray. Some scraps. But then that's kind of a gray area too, because you could get into he's going to start expecting that if you start doing it. So it may be better to just steer clear of that altogether. But yeah, the price is the price. If you don't want to pay, as far as I'm concerned, oh well.
Yeah, you're not getting no food.
Right.
True.
What do you think, Darius?
So, I have to kind of break things down a little bit more. And so at one point in the when you were reading it, it said you were talking about he said that when he asked him the second time, he said that he wanted some, that yes, he wanted it. And immediately the person who you said is coming from Jake, right? So
yes, this is Jake.
So immediately Jake says, I said it's not free. So right there tells me that Jake has dealt with this person before, and there might have been some prior situations where he has tried to shaft him or skirt him on paying for something. So I think Jake kind of went into this situation already knowing that. And so if I were Jake, I would have been like, okay, hold up. After I've asked you or said this one time before, I know how you are. I'm not even going to maybe put this out here. The idea, I agree with both of you about this being his living and all of that stuff, but then the question is, if you're giving us all of this, so what should I do? This is my living, this is my livelihood. I'm in my say no era. Then just say no. Like, just that's it. Don't worry about it. But now the aftermath of that, I just probably wouldn't even ask my friend anything else about food. That's how you salvage the friendship. And as we've talked about before, I compartmentalize people. And so I'm going to put you in the friend category, but I'm not going to put you in the friend category that I do business with. So I'm just going to talk to you. We can hang out. We can go do whatever. We can shoot the shit, all of that. But when it comes to my business, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm not going to offer you anything, whatever. So just
that's
to
smart.
keep that quote friendship.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at
out as far as
that goes. When it comes to that, we're not friends in my business, but otherwise we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, that's a good take. All right, so next question. So this is coming from Dave. This is coming from the Advice subreddit. Is it weird to go to a restaurant alone? Okay, this might sound dumb, but I've never eaten at a restaurant by myself. I usually either get takeout or go with friends or my partner. But lately, I've been thinking about just sitting down somewhere nice and having a solo meal. No distractions, no phone, just me, maybe a book. Part of me thinks it would be peaceful. The other part thinks people will assume I got stood up or something. Anyone else done this before? Is it awkward, or is it one of those, quote, main character, quote, moment, quote, things everyone should try? Tips appreciated, especially on where to start or what kind of place is best for a first solo outing. Darius, what do you think about this?
Dave is fed the fuck up. Bottom line is what that is. He's like, look, I usually get takeout or go with friends or my partner. Then he's like, but lately, I just want to do this by myself. So he's not getting me time and he wants me time. So I don't think it's weird. I don't think it's dumb. So it's interesting that he started out with, this might sound dumb. I don't think it's dumb. I've seen people do that before. And I've even done that before, where I've gone and I've been at a restaurant, just kind of by myself, just to have some alone time, just to have some me time kind of thing, which I think is super important, especially when everybody's pulling you in different directions. Yeah, I think that's an awesome thing to do. And especially if the as I was visualizing when you were saying it, especially if he has a book. If he's got a book and he's eating and reading, like I've seen people do that all the time at a restaurant. And I'd look at that and go, oh, they're just having some alone time. They're having some me time. They're having some get away from everybody, detach, detox kind of time. So no, I don't think that's weird at all. I think that's something that everybody should do. This idea of dating yourself, I think that's something you should do periodically just to kind of keep a check on yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I've been solo dating, or I started solo dining rather, when I was an undergrad because of, times I would get paid. I want to go to the restaurant. No one else got paid that week. I can't afford to pay for you too. I'm not missing out on this deal. I'm going to Bennigan's and get my meal.
Wow, Bennigan's.
Exactly.
I haven't heard that name in forever.
I'm
Next you're going to say Groupon, right?
Getting my meal, and I am going to enjoy it, and I'm not going to care if anyone sees me there alone or not. I find it peaceful when I go out to eat by myself. It's nice to have the social thing going on when you go out to eat somewhere, but for me, it's not necessary. And it's kind of like, do you just want to go home and eat alone in the darkness with the light of the TV? Or do you want to go out and, be amongst the people watch, read your book? There's no one's I'm not going to say no one. I said very few people would actually think that you're just stood up or you're some weirdo. You could be a business person that's just out, on business that night and just happen to have no one else to eat with. No colleagues, no coworkers. It's just you. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that he said a good way to start, right? I would definitely recommend maybe going and sitting at a bar, so you don't feel necessarily alone.
Good idea.
My first solo date was in 2023 after a long relationship ended, and there was a lot of anxiety surrounding it for me because I felt so just displaced. Like I didn't feel, I don't know, I felt lonely, I felt weird, but by the end of it, I felt liberated. Like, okay, I can do this on my own. I don't need somebody here. But I really think going to a bar, sitting around people might help the anxiety, like lower the anxiety a little bit. And then slowly moving towards, like you said, sitting by yourself, getting a good meal, reading a book if you want to. When I went the time after the first time, I actually brought my headphones with me and put on anime and watched it and had a great time. I wasn't worried about like what time I needed to leave by, anybody like inconveniencing anybody else. Like DMC said, it was great, like solo date, dating yourself. It's necessary for sure.
Did you feel weird because you hadn't done it by yourself, kind of like Dave, and anxious? Okay.
I felt very anxious because I was like, people are looking at me. Because at first when I got to the restaurant, it was just me. I was just there alone. It was just the staff and it was fine. And then like a horde of people came in and I was like, and people were looking at me, and I'd already been asked, like, oh, twice actually. Oh, has somebody coming to join you? I'm like, no, it's just me for the second time, girl. Like, I'm just here by
Oh,
myself.
wow. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and there's that pressure too, that societal pressure that going out is a social event. It's a social construct that you have to go out with everybody. You don't, but you can go out by yourself and have a great time. And like you said, it's necessary. Yeah.
And you can order whatever you want, and there's no one at the
Nobody
table to
judge
judge
you. Exactly.
The judge.
Right.
Do y'all feel judged when you go out with other people?
I'm still gonna order what the fuck I want.
That's what I'm saying. I was about to say, I was like, Jeff, I know you. I was like, usually you like, and this is what I want. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whatever.
I dare you to try to critique what I'm putting in my mouth. It ain't none of your business.
Oh,
You're not paying the bill.
what you put in your mouth.
That's exactly where I went. That's exactly where I went. Yeah. And we can't judge that either. But
that's right.
No judgment.
That's right. Yeah.
No judgment. We listen. We don't judge.
Well, sometimes I listen and judge, but
And sometimes I don't listen and I
judge.
Judge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There we go. That's it. My guy right there.
All right. Moving on to the next question. This is coming from Reese. This is from the Ask Gay Bros Over 30. Just looking for normal male gay friends. All right. So Reese says, "Hey all, I've been thinking about something and wanted to ask, is it actually possible to have normal, supportive male gay friends? I live in London and I've really struggled to build a group of gay mates who aren't just obsessed with hooking up or constantly dealing with chaotic drama. Some people I hang out with seem like they only want company when it's convenient for them. Like, if there are hot guys around or they don't want to go alone to something, others have crossed boundaries, even trying stuff with me despite knowing I have a boyfriend. And now, the cherry on top. One of my friends is always low-key flirting with my boyfriend or making comments that make it super clear he wants to sleep with him. It feels like he needs to be the most desirable one in the room all the time. I don't know. I keep finding myself gravitating towards friendships with women because they feel more grounded and genuine. Am I being dramatic? Is this internalized homophobia or just bad chances? Should I keep trying to find new gay guy friends or just give up and stick with the girl gang? Would really love to hear people's experiences or advice."
Okay, I can go first.
Okay.
I really didn't have a sense of community until Terrell introduced me to, you guys, and all the friends that I've made. So this is new for me. I was also single when I joined in on everything. I personally love women, like female friends. Like I love them. I've always had them. I don't know. I get where he's coming from with the girl gang type thing because I too, that resonates with me. But I don't like the societal normatives that we're supposed to adhere to. I feel like having assertive conversations with your friends is good. Like you should be able to have assertive conversations with your friends or your friends. You know what I mean? If you're not comfortable with your mate saying stuff to your boyfriend about having sex, then you should be like, hey, you really shouldn't do that. That makes me extremely uncomfortable. I know it's hard to maybe build up the courage to do that, but I've been in therapy for 2 years and I've learned that I'd rather just say it now than wait, and things build up and then maybe you lose the friendship totally. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything as normal gay friends. I mean, I think it depends on the friendship with that person that you like and what you like about them. I don't know. I just feel like that's a loaded thing. The normal gay friend. Like there are so many abnormal people I have in my life, and I love them for that reason.
Yeah, I think maybe he means like platonic and just kind of strictly keeping it on the level. I guess maybe.
Well, yeah, but then there's the assertive communication. Like, I just want to be friends. I do not want to have sex with you guys. Stop making passes at me. Like, it's okay to say that. Yeah. I think, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's not being rude or bitchy. I think it's just being real.
Yeah, setting boundaries.
Setting boundaries it's so important.
Yeah. I Growing up, I found myself with a lot of female friends, just because I felt more comfortable with them at that stage in my life. One of my good friends from undergrad is female, and we just kind of don't talk the same way that we did before. But that's just one of those things. We just kind of not drifted apart. That's still one of my good friends. We just don't talk like we used to. And so I kind of get where he's coming from as far as being around people that are trying to get on someone that's close to you, like, a boyfriend, or try to mess with you because they find you attractive. Because a lot of people surround themselves in different friend groups around guys that they are attracted to, and they tend to only have friends or make friends with guys that they find attractive. Now, whether or not that's dick or booty in the case,
right, or both.
Emergency, break glass for ass,
or both.
I don't know, but I feel like you have to, once he's recognized that these guys are like this. So yes, I think he should try to find another tribe of friends, and it's okay to break up with people that aren't for you, that you feel are uncomfortable, making you uncomfortable, and not respecting the boundaries that you set. So maybe, like you said, some assertive communication, setting those boundaries, letting those friends know that, hey, this is not cool. And if this continues, I'm not going to be around y'all like that. Yeah. I'm out. And let them know that, hey, these are the consequences of your actions if this progresses. Exactly. Give them the chance. And if they're not with it, just
move on.
Start hanging around new people.
Yeah.
Chris, you got anything to add?
So, yeah, I'm going to work this one slow.
Okay.
So just hold on to something. One of the things that you alluded to, Jeff, is the idea that, especially within the gay Black community, friends are usually formed first out of an initial attraction, or that's what it seems, that there's some sort of initial attraction there. And so it's like, okay, I'm going to initially interact with you or start a conversation or speak to you because there's some attraction there. Now, after the conversation has happened, or after you feel out the vibe of that person, I think it's when it shifts to, all right, I can only see this person as a friend. And so most of the people that I have become friends with that are gay, I know for a fact have kind of started that way. It's been like, oh, well, this person seems really cool. This person's attractive, but this person seems really cool on top of that. And so then from there, it's like, okay, what is this going to be? Is this just going to be a friend, or is this going to be something that leads towards something else or towards something else? And growing up, I had more male friends than I had female friends. But my female friends, they were all cool, and I kept people in compartments. So all my male friends, there were things I could talk about with them. And then there were things that I could talk to the females about. And so one thing that Reese is talking about here is friends, or within his area, that are just obsessed with hooking up and constantly dealing with chaotic drama. So my question then to Reese would be, what circles are you putting yourself into that you're running into people who are constantly hooking up or dealing with chaotic drama? Are you trying to meet people at the club? Because that's who shows up at the club. Are you meeting people on dating sites? Because that's who shows up on the dating sites. Are you meeting people? If you're meeting people at, like, events, house parties, or kickbacks and stuff like that, that's a little different because the vibe is a little different. You don't go into a situation normally going, okay, well, let me go to this kickback, this Uno party, so I can see who the hell I can draw four on. Like, you're not doing that. You're going there to have a good time and just kind of relax. So that would be a question that I would ask. As for the cherry on top that he says, one of his friends is low-key flirting, and I agree with both of you that it's like, look, if this is an issue for you, like, you need to pull that person aside and go, all right, dude, listen, I know that you just may be playing around, but you taking it too far, and I'm gonna need you to back off from that. And he has to be okay with saying that. And it may be that he's a little bit more of a passive type, so that might be why you're not necessarily meeting a tribe of people who you can connect to, because one, you're meeting them in the wrong places, and two, people might be feeling the energy that you're a little bit more passive, and they're going to be
advantage of it.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of you, and they're going to want to kind of run over you too. So I'm just like, you know, I think that there's some introspection that needs to be done on his part, and like step back and go, all right, where am I meeting people? Who am I meeting? And then let me see if I can find some other like common interest groups, and then build from there.
That's smart. Yeah, there are definitely nuances to where you're meeting the people. Like if it is at clubs or on apps, then like you said, the initial thing is attraction, and are we going into this being attracted, or are we going to this to be friends? I mean, I was on Bumble BFF for a little bit.
Okay.
What's that?
It's supposed to be the friend version of Bumble. Where you used to go in there to meet friends. Everybody was wanting to fuck.
No, and that doesn't even sound right.
It was the same thing.
Yeah,
it was the same thing. So I was like, oh, because it was initial like, oh, hey, you know, I like collecting vinyls too, and I'm like, oh yeah, and it's just like, hey, you know, how big's your dick? It's like, what does that have to do with?
Exactly.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with. Nothing to do with records, but no, I get it. There are nuances to, you know, where you're meeting these people and what type of people you're surrounding yourself with. Yeah, I think that's great advice.
Yeah. Every app is a hookup app if you want it to be.
True.
If you want it to be, right?
Literally any of them.
They're not. All of them are not designed to do that. So I really want people, listeners, I want people to stop boxing in or pigeonholing all of these apps as, quote, hookup apps. All of these apps are not hookup apps. Some of them are actual apps where people can actually meet people and talk and have conversations, etc., etc. Everything doesn't have to be show me your hole, show me your dick, show me your feet,
hole, show me your feet,
show me hole, show me feet, show me pole, show me tongue, all of that bullshit.
It's okay to have a platonic meeting of the minds.
Yes. And one other thing, he may even want to, if he has somebody that he can kind of connect to, maybe one of his girl gang friends, maybe they can introduce him to somebody that he might mesh well with. And then from there, build a circle outward from that. Because like, you know, like Jeff, like, you met a group of people like around the same time. It was a common interest group. And so from there, you started meeting other people, you know. And so that's always a thing. That's always something or some way to kind of, as a gateway. It functions as a gateway to finding other people.
Yeah. He has some potential resources there that he could tap into to expand his circle and have a little bit more of a wholesomer set of guys to hang out with.
Yeah, instead of sitting somewhere with his arms folded going, why can't I meet anybody? You know, just try.
All right. So hopefully Reese, he'll do the right thing. All right. So moving on, our next question is coming from Cameron. How do I become physically attracted to other races besides white dudes? This is coming from Ask Gay Bros Over 30. So you guys have noticed these questions are getting a little bit more progressively complicated as we go along.
I'm just tripping at Ask Gay Bros Over 30. Like,
that's right.
Like I can't ask anybody younger than that, but okay, go for it.
They probably don't have the bandwidth for this one.
Maybe. We'll see.
All right. So Cameron says, he starts out with this disclaimer. I already go to therapy for other things, so no need to mention it.
See, he's already starting crazy.
Anyway, I am a black guy, and I have always only liked white guys, especially bears. I find that many of them don't like me back. Okay. Also, most of the white guys I have dated have treated me like garbage and said a bunch of racist shit to me. Like, my ex once told me he was afraid I would leave him for a fat white girl because, according to him, all black men like fat white women. He also basically said that black people can't usually be successful unless they play sports. For some reason, the white guys I have dated have felt the need to tell me they don't like Mexicans, even though I am black. So I don't know why they would tell me that. I just need to stop seeking white validation. There is nothing wrong with white men in general. I just feel like I have been brainwashed to find only white men attractive. Maybe it is because I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, also as a kid and even now as an adult. Other than the instances listed above, I have been bullied at work by other black people because I talk, quote unquote, proper and don't carry myself like a thug. Even if I started liking black dudes, I think it would still be hard to find a man because most black guys I have encountered are not out of the closet. I am not trying to say all white dudes do things I mentioned. I just don't want to continue to be put down by my own people for the way I am. I have even had black gays call me a sellout or self-hating. I feel I can't help what I like physically, but people say I can, so I am just curious as to how to do that. So I feel like he kind of answers his own question here. I just need to stop seeking white validation. I mean, and that's true. I think he's one of those guys that's just kind of like, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's media, seeing the Henry Cavills and the Marvel superhero guys presented on screen with rippling abs and things like that. And he's gotten into that aesthetic. The one point that he mentioned, he likes bears, and a lot of the bear community is represented by white guys. And that's why the darker skinned guys, Latin and black guys, are starting to form their own thick type of bear communities. So I think maybe the kind of things that he's just kind of seen and experienced as a gay man just kind of maybe have crystallized his attraction to white guys more. Could be that his first experience was with a white guy. We don't have that context in this question, but I'm wondering if that's the case, because a lot of people kind of associate their first times with a certain look, and they kind of stay with that because they feel that that aesthetic liked me, so I'm going to seek that out. I like that feeling the first time that we got together, or the first time I had an experience sexually with this type of person, so I'm trying to chase that like a drug. It could be that. I don't know. He says he's in therapy for this, so it seems like he says he's in therapy for other things. He didn't say that he's talked to his therapist about this, but this may be something that he wants to talk to that therapist about.
This needs to be bumped up on the list.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
He needs to ramp that up.
I cannot relate to this question at all. I am not attracted to white men. I've never even been intimate with a white man before. Not saying that white men aren't attractive, because there are definitely some attractive white men. Just like I'm not sexually, I guess, attracted to them. Not, at least not one that I've met. I couldn't imagine aspiring to like whiteness. You know, I was raised by white people. I am half white, and I wanted to get as far away from them as I possibly could. So, sorry, not
Why was
trying
that
to
though?
Oh, just, growing up with white brothers and seeing white privilege at play throughout most of my life. Even me being treated differently than they were, because of my name, because of, my weight or whatever. They could be just as chubby as me, and they were still praised for whatever, getting an A on a test, whatever. Just, I think, this is, I don't know. I feel bad for him, because I know how it feels to be in spaces where you are around, specifically black people, and they do maybe make fun of the way you talk, or, and talk white. And,
Yeah.
I've gotten that a lot myself growing up. So I get that, but I feel like it's something you have to power through and not let it discourage you from finding your tribe, especially if the tribe that you're seeking is not seeking you back. Um, it would take me one time to deal with somebody being racist towards me or another
Okay.
group for
That's
me
right.
to not want to fuck with them at all. I mean, to the weird thing
To
about
fuck
white
them
people,
up, yes,
yeah,
but
the weird thing about white people feeling comfortable to, okay, so not disrespect black people, but to disrespect Mexican people to a black person, it's just weird. Like, why is that? Why does that feel okay? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I can be racist towards this group, and it's okay because you're not part of that group type of
Right.
mentality.
Yeah. That's it's a warped sense of mentality. It's a warped mentality. You shouldn't be racist towards anybody. I just feel like saying that only black men could be successful if they're athletes. It's just that's wild.
Yeah,
I
that would be an instant turnoff. Like that would be the end
Me
of the date,
too.
end of the
Yeah.
conversation, end of the relationship, and I would not be able to continue dealing with that person or the people that have
Yeah.
said that. And because he seems to be okay with that, because I'm thinking in his brain, I'm not like those other Negroes, that it doesn't like
oh
apply
yeah,
to him.
the I Bill vote for Donald Trump.
Oh Lord.
Like
Yeah.
those, yeah.
Yeah.
Not get those Mexicans, not us. Get
Right.
those
Yeah.
Latinx, not us. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot that this person needs to unpack. I will say this. I am attracted to all the colors of the rainbow. I've interacted sexually with all the colors of the rainbow. I will say that you like what you like. And if you like white guys, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you're attracted to, that's what you're attracted to. I can't tell you to like something that you don't like. If he really does not like black guys, that's something that, and he wants to try to like black guys, I guess that's a step. But he still has to talk to someone about that. Probably a whole nother therapist that specializes in something like that, to kind of get him through that. Because it seems like there's the opportunity there that he could do it, but there's nothing anyone on this earth that could ever do to make me like black jelly beans. That's never going to happen. And so I can't tell this person that he's going to ever like other black guys. And
Yeah.
then, amongst the whole diaspora of the shades of black people, we come in light, we come in dark. We have Eurocentric features, we have Asian features, we have Afrocentric features. We've got every type of feature. So it's probably you have to find the black guys that you are attracted to, or I don't think that he's there's something else that he's kind of getting limited here by this concept of white guys. I don't know. It's real odd for me. The only thing I can say is find another therapist to talk to this issue specifically.
Yep.
Because
Like I said,
this is deep.
yeah, he needs to ramp up that therapy.
Right.
So, so I'm gonna get a little. I don't want to use the word messy, but why not? I kind of want to know what Cameron looks like.
Okay.
Because he says that most of the bears don't like him back. And so I'm like, I wonder what that is, because I don't feel like it could be a personality thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has to be something that's a little deeper than that. Now, I'm not absolving his whole issue to the fact that he, of how he looks. But, if he looks like the buttermilk biscuits guy from My 600-Pound Life, okay, then maybe
goodness.
that might be a reason why, buttermilk biscuits, so maybe that, I don't know. But then, of course, dealing with the ex that is, that was very condescending towards him, that was an issue. And then I think that there's, like you said, Jeff, I think that there's some trauma there, that I find myself attracted to white men, or find only find myself only attracted to white men. I think there's some sort of trauma that he either is not dealing with, has not dealt with, or hasn't been able to identify that this is a trauma for me. It could have been something that happened to him early on in life, and it's something that maybe he's just repressed and he hasn't dealt with it. And that could be it. But I think there needs to, again, be some introspection done, maybe through the ramped up therapy that he needs. But the other thing that I've noticed is that there's some internalized racism there with him, because one of the things that he said, that he's been bullied at work by people because he talks, quote, proper. Mm-hmm. But then he says, and I don't carry myself like a thug. So if immediately you went to, I don't carry myself like a thug, you're already stereotyping your own people. Right. It's different if you said, I get bullied because I speak a certain way. Hard stop. That's different. But when you make that comparative sort of statement of, and I don't carry myself like a thug, or I don't look like I just stepped out of a rap video, like that connotes to me, there's some shit there that you haven't dealt with, and there's some things that you're not seeing, or that you're basically trying to repress. So I think that I agree with you guys. There's some more therapy that needs to be done, and I hate that we tend to look on the surface of everything. Like, okay, this person only dates white guys, so he's a sellout, he's an Uncle Tom, kind of all those terms. So I hate that we do that as a people, but I think too that there's some energy there that he's putting out that people are picking up, and he has to kind of figure out what that is. Yeah.
You're right about the internalized race. Yeah, the race, because to immediately go to, like you said, sounding like a thug. Not all black people sound like that. What?
They don't.
Exactly. That makes no sense. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get bullied for talking. Yeah, I didn't get bullied for talking proper, but there were people who made comments about the fact that I spoke a certain way, but I also know how to code mesh. So I could speak a certain way in certain settings if I'm trying to be serious, and then infuse culture and AAVE and all of those things into my speech, and still sound and still have a level of intelligence in my conversation. And people go, okay, I'm hearing everything you're saying, and I'm able to connect with you because you're able to mesh those styles or those dialects.
Yeah. And just because even if he did sound like a quote unquote thug, I think he associates that with being dumb and not being intelligent, that those two things are not mutually exclusive at all.
Right. So you're pushing the narrative of your ex with they can't be successful other than being athletes, because you're in the mind frame of thinking that, thugs. So maybe not athletes, but thugs. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, good luck with that, Cameron.
Right. Good luck, Cameron. Go get some therapy, Cameron.
Another therapy.
Some more therapy. A lot more therapy. Oh, and by the way, Reese, hit us up, here at Just Drawz. We might want to be friends with you.
Right.
From the previous Reddit.
Okay. All right. So moving on. How do you deal with a gym crush? This is coming from Ask Gay Bros over 30 again.
Over 30
TC
again.
asks, hey bros, I need your advice and wisdom. I recently started CrossFit as a newbie and met this person who's really kind and supportive. He's like a second coach to me and gave me tips. I feel like crushed on him since last week, and I really want to have a deeper connection with him. However, I barely know him, except that I know he's gay as well. I don't have Tinder or Grindr, so I don't even know what his current status is like. The most important thing is I don't know if he has feelings about me. Maybe not, because I'm a pretty average guy. In your experience, how should I approach this to avoid this becoming awkward? Or should I just keep my feelings?
To see if he's single first. I mean, that's first and foremost. It doesn't take much to ask somebody, oh, like, you got any plans this weekend? You hanging out with your boo, or and all they have to say is, no, no, I ain't got no boo. You know what I mean? Like, you could be
Mhm.
setting yourself up for failure already if you don't even know if he's single. I mean, at least ask that. You need to know.
Mhm.
Well, I would ask. I want to know how he knows he's gay,
Oh yeah, true.
and then the I don't have Tinder or Grinder, so I don't know what his current status. What did that have to do with anything?
Nothing.
Like that. That makes me think that okay, wait a minute. Has somebody told you that he has Tinder, or somebody told you he has Grinder? Like how? Like why would you throw that little
Yeah, that's
nugget
not
in there
relevant.
for us?
It sounds
Yeah.
like now he could have like other identifiers. Like he could maybe wear like, pride flags on his clothes, or maybe he's got a, HRC sticker on his truck or something like that. So there's ways that he can find out that he's gay without having to go to Tinder or Grinder.
Right. That's what I'm
But
saying. Like, why
I
would you
feel
need to go there
like
to find that out?
Yeah, I feel like people kind of use that as like when people go to the club and they turn on the app to see who's on the app in the club,
Who's in there? Right.
that
Who up
kind of
in here?
thing. And I think
Right.
that that's what he's that's the type of approach that he's taking here. Terico, I think saying or just asking the question like, "Hey, are you single?" is like step number one.
Yeah.
Because at least that way, or there's someone at that CrossFit gym knows if he's dating or whatever. So he can
hmm
either ask another CrossFit member in one of the classes or just ask the guy directly himself and find the answer to that question.
Very simple.
My thing with this is that this is a slippery slope
Mm-hmm.
because I am one of those people that don't like the shit where I eat. So if
Mm.
I like this CrossFit gym, and CrossFit, from my understanding, tends to be because it's more social and communal. You end up becoming friends with these people, but just because of the way that the CrossFit ideology works, my understanding of it. So even like going to like an LA Fitness, like I see guys that I think are cute or hot all the time, but I shy away from approaching them, at least on that getting to know them level, at least when I was single, just because I don't want it to get weird on these days that I work out and they're there too. Now, if I see them out or meet them in another sitting or a setting, I think that that will work better for me personally. But to kind of like approach them in the gym, I'm probably not going to do that myself. And then also when I'm in the gym, I'm also headphones on and in my own world. So headphones on, world off. And I am not trying to communicate. I want to get through my workout. My workout is on my phone. Going through my sets and everything. I'm just trying to get through that. I'm not there to socialize, but that's just me. Now, if
Same.
someone wants
No,
to do
same
that,
here. Yeah.
yeah, if someone wants to socialize, I'm not saying that they shouldn't. But, that's something that he should be aware of is that, hey, this could get a little weird, if it kind of goes south. So he's got to make sure that he's walking this path with the right um, strategy so that, and some maturity and be cosmopolitan about it because not everybody is mature enough to navigate that type of situation if it did go south. Because I could go to the gym. You could be there too. We could have hooked up or whatever. And like Darius said in the previous show, like you are dead to me. Like I don't see you. You don't exist anymore. I don't
You're
have
a
to look your
ghost.
way. You
Yeah.
are a ghost. Have been deleted like that episode of Black Mirror. Like I don't see you. You don't see me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. It's a slippery slope. I agree.
I think you should. I think as you said, Terico, I think you should just ask, or not even ask in the way of, hey,
I'm
I'm
trying to
interested.
date.
Are you right? Yeah. Or let's go back to the sauna real quick and let me see what you working with.
What's got going
Like
on?
it.
What you got going on?
Yeah, what you
Yeah.
got going on right there? Well, if they're in CrossFit, I'm sure they probably can kind of gauge what's going on. But I'm not saying do that, but maybe just hey, what you doing after session today? You want to go grab a smoothie or, whatever, or I'm going to a smoothie place. Hey, why don't you come with me? Something like that. Just something simple on like a really low stakes sort of situation. But I do understand the anxiety of wanting to find out if there might be something there, because when I go to the gym, I'm paying attention to everything that's going on in the gym. Even though I kind of am in my own world, I'm watching other people, as I'm working out. I'm definitely paying attention to who's where. The thing that makes this a little bit different is that this guy knows that the gym crush is gay, so he knows that. Whereas people that I would be attracted to in the gym, I don't know. I don't know if they're gay or not. And as I've also said on a previous podcast, I have the Temu, AliExpress, DHgate version of the gaydar, so like I can't really tell. Sometimes
doesn't work too often.
It doesn't work really, like hardly ever. Like I said before, I have to ask Jeff sometimes if we're out, and I'm like, Jeff, okay, 6:00, or Jeff usually will already know who I'm kind of paying attention to, if he hasn't already seen him and looked in my direction to confirm that I've already seen this. So I know you're going to ask. So, but I think that's part of the battle right there, is the fact that he knows that he's a part of the community. And so I think the door is kind of cracked at that point. So just push it open a little bit and see, peek in and see what's going on. And then if there's some stuff going on, close the door and keep it moving.
Period.
Yeah, shoot your shot.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot your shot at CrossFit.
At the CrossFit.
Right. Get them in your crosshairs at CrossFit.
Mm-hmm. And crossing some other things too. Yeah.
All right. So, keeping in the gym, our next question comes from Kyle. Tell the truth. Did you lose weight to attract a man? Now, this is also coming from Ask Gay Bros Over 30.
Over 30.
The gay bros over 30 are going through some shit.
They are.
And they need therapy. There needs to be some therapists in the Ask Gay Bros Over 30.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kyle says, for all the formerly fat guys on here, did you lose weight in order to make your sex and dating life better? I am 6'3", 308 pounds. I am black, and I don't know that many guys in the bear community that like fat black guys. Anyway, I just want my clothes to fit better. I look pregnant. I particularly get ignored on the apps, which I got off of a while back anyway, but not sure I want to be celibate forever. I struggle with sweets and liquid calories the most. I can't just drink water all the time. I love having juice with my meals, but other than that, I drink water. Any advice? I need to get down to 320 so I don't get diabetes.
Not 320, 230. You had a dyslexic moment there.
Yes, 230. Sorry, I need to get down to 230 so I don't get diabetes. So he's starting at 308, trying to get to 230. So I can relate to this. So I'll say for me, I have been up and down the scale for a while. I've been heavy. I've been thick and muscularly. I've been all of that. So currently I'm enjoying and in my thick fat boy era. So let's start with what we can do right now. Okay. So drinking water, is something that's, you have to kind of get used to. He may want to try to find a bottled water that he likes. Also, there's nothing wrong with going to the zero sugar drinks. Minute Maid is not a sponsor of this podcast.
But if you'd like to be, let us know.
Right. But if the Coca-Cola Corporation wanted to sponsor us,
that's right.
I would say that Coke Zero and Minute Maid Juices Zero tastes really good. There is a little bit of an aftertaste with the zero products. But it's not as bad as like Diet Coke or something like that. Like, I can't stand Diet Coke. Yeah, you get used to it after a while.
Diet Coke is disgusting. I agree.
Yes. So there's that. But cutting out sugar really will start, the weight will just kind of like melt. Like once you start really just drinking water and replacing those liquid calories, because you can't really tell them. Like, I'd rather eat my calories, but I mean, I get it. I love a good Arnold Palmer or some sweet lemonade. But yeah, it's just, you're just drinking, just injecting the sugar into your veins. So, but to go back to the original question, did I lose weight to make my sex and dating life better? No. Like him, I wanted my clothes to fit better. Like, I didn't like the way that I looked in my clothes. Did not like the feeling of the t-shirt being too tight on my stomach, or the stomach protruding from the t-shirt, when I look down at my stomach. Being able to just buy pants off the rack. So all of those things were motivators for me when I lost a lot of weight and was very into the gym, about a decade, 12 years or so ago. I was in the gym like probably 5 to 6 days a week, heavy lifting, powerlifting style. I enjoy the results of that, but my sex life really was not a motivator for me to lose weight. I'll say that I got a little bit more attention, obviously, because, people just kind of like fit bodies in general, but people like all kinds of bodies. You just have to find those people that like your body. So I'll say for me, I did not lose weight to attract other people. I lost the weight for me and how I wanted my clothes to fit. Being more attractive was just a side effect of the weight loss and the muscle gaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I too have dealt with weight gain and weight loss. It was, again, specifically for me, not to attract other people. But I will say that was while I was in a relationship. Being single, I would say that people would tend to fetishize me a little bit more as a bigger guy.
Really?
Yeah, and it was just a sexual thing a lot of the time. Like, I remember I dated this guy that was an actor. He's on like some Tyler Perry show or some shit, but he, sex was good. Like, we had a pretty good connection, but he was like, though I'm very attracted to you, I kind of don't want to be seen with you. Which was like, I was like, what do you mean? Like, and he's like, well,
Right.
you don't really fit the aesthetic of what I'm going for. And I was like, oh, so it's okay to have me in the sheets, but not in the streets. I was like, that's over with. That's done. So I get the struggle of thinking that it will bring attraction to you if you do lose weight. And like Jeff said, it does tend to bring a little bit more eyes looking in. As the heaviest I've been probably not in my life, but more recently, my sex life has never been better. So I can't say that the weight loss really or weight gain or loss has, affected it. It hasn't really affected it. If anything, luckily my partner now really likes my body, and champions me all the time. I can do a stretch and my stomach will hang out a little bit and he smiles and he's like, "Oh, you're so beautiful," But me, if I saw that in the mirror, I'd be like, I don't want to see that, But
exactly.
But it, I think really doing it for yourself and gaining confidence could make you more attractive. But I think it would be the confidence that would make you attractive, not the weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. So, Terico, you don't know, Jeff, but some of our listeners don't know, and I may have said something about this on a previous episode, but I had weight loss surgery back in 2013, and so I lost, at my heaviest, I was 435, and I got down to 215, 217, somewhere thereabout. And I looked like a Pez dispenser. And I was I was just head and straight body, the letter P. And so Jeff and I met like right around the time that I had weight loss surgery. And I was my smallest when Jeff and I did a obstacle run. And it was the first one I had ever done. I know, Jeff, you had probably done one before that, right?
Yeah, I had done probably 3 or 4.
Okay, so we did Rugged Maniac back in like 2015. So I was my absolute smallest. I still have pictures of me in Rugged Maniac. I have big hands, I have big feet, and then I had this like string bean body, and it was like, wow, like this is nuts. So no, I did not lose weight to make myself more attractive. As Jeff said, it was a side effect, or it was a byproduct of doing that. But I did that more so just to be more healthy. I needed to get healthier. I was pre-diabetic. I had hypertension, still have hypertension. And so there were some things that I needed to do to kind of get my health back in check. And so this guy, I do sympathize with him. And I agree with Jeff that, you kind of want to just start somewhere. And if you feel like you're already in the space of, I don't like what I look like. So the idea of saying, well, I'm just going to accept who I am, flaws and all. And if you don't like it, fuck you. Like, that's not the mindset that most people are in when they're thinking, okay, look, he said I look pregnant.
Yes.
And he gets ignored on the apps. The other, and I was trying not to laugh while Jeff was reading this, but it was, I love having juice with my meals. I'm going back to buttermilk biscuits on 600 Pound Life and how he had to have juice. And I was trying to hold it together here. So I was just like, oh my God, like all I'm seeing is him saying,
I get it. That juice with the meal be hitting. I get it.
I mean, maybe, but like, you don't have to have it, and I'm not saying you don't have to, like, I have to have juice because when I get tired, like you don't have to have that. Now, you don't necessarily have to have water either. There are a lot of alternatives. You can, flavor packs and using sweeteners, in certain things, getting unsweetened and then adding a little bit of 0-calorie sweetener to it, will help a little bit too. So, yeah, I think that it's an option. If you feel like that you want to go that intensive with your medical procedures and health and things of that nature, I would say definitely, look into it, do orientation sessions with your local bariatric clinics and things like that. If that's a route that you want to take, I have enjoyed, the results. I'm definitely not 215 now. I've picked up some more weight and I work out more. So I have kind of bulked up a little bit more, but I still don't particularly care for how I look. I'm just like, okay, I still want to do better. I still don't like the way I look, naked and, stuff like that. But I think that that's probably a good start, is for him to maybe even look into that. But again, just look into things you like to do, that are active, walking or whatever.
It's not an overnight process. Like, whatever he does isn't going to just be like, oh, I'm going to
walk for 2 miles. And then when I wake up in the morning, bam,
skinny. Yeah.
Next month, just popping,
hot boy summer.
There's no Buddy Love potion,
right,
at all. But no, I can, like, when I was at my smallest, which was, I think I'm like probably like 285 now, maybe 280. My smallest, I was 205, and that was in 2020, 2021. I thought I was fat then. Which is wild. Like, I look back on pictures and I was so hard on myself, and I'd beat myself up all the time. Like, I just need to be 190. I just need to be 195, 200. Damn. But there was no really satisfying that hunger. It's a different type of hunger, aside from the hunger that you face every day when you're
exactly correct.
A person. Yeah. And it's like, you can't achieve it. You have to learn how to really love yourself at all shapes and sizes, and just improve what you have. Like you said, you did your gastric bypass for health reasons, and
well, no, I didn't have bypass though. I had
sleeve,
okay. Gastric sleeve.
Sleeve, okay,
so,
sleeve.
Yeah.
But you did it for health reasons, and that was enough for you. That was, it wasn't to look better, but that came with it. So, yeah.
And body dysmorphia is a thing. It absolutely is a thing, because even when I was that size, when I was 215 and I was, thin like that, and Jeff was like, yeah, you were string bean when we met. Like, literally, I still thought I was fat. I was like, okay, yeah, I am fat. And then I look back at that picture and I'm going,
I relate. I get it.
Okay,
Trust
do
me.
what now? Yeah.
Yeah. I show my partner pictures of me now, and he'll look at it. He's like, who is that, first of all?
Exactly. Right.
But he's like, you thought you were fat? And I'm like, yeah, I thought I was fat. He's like, you weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Kyle, lose that weight for yourself. Don't lose it for these guys, because we're all for the streets out here. We ain't about nothing.
Yeah, and yeah, like Jeff said, just focus in on what's going to make you feel better. And it's easier said than done, because we're at places where we're semi happy with who we are and how we look. So it's gonna hit different coming from us. But for this guy, like you just kind of got to get yourself to that space, and it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take you, it may take a minute for you to really kind of see, all right, let me do this for me.
Yeah.
And pause. Once again, we talked way too much for one episode, so we're going to stop for now and pick this up next week. You'll definitely want to come back because the questions get sexier. All right, so stay tuned for a preview of that. But first, before we let you go, are you enjoying this so far? If you are, we're soliciting advice now. That's right, we're preparing for a future episode where we would love it if you send us your questions. Want to know what we would do if we saw your man being fed a strawberry by a coworker at the airport? Or what we would do if our boyfriend's auntie had slick shit to say about us and our boyfriend didn't check her ass? Yeah, so do you have questions for us, or just want us to expand on one of our opinions on a previous show? Great. Well, we've got the solution for you. You can send an email to us at askjustdrawz@gmail.com. That's askjustdrawz@gmail.com. All right. So now we're going to preview next week's show. And here's a short clip.
I want to experience public casual nudity, but of course, only if it's fully legal, safe, and everyone involved is 100% cool with it.
It's a lot of stipulations.
I've never been naked in a public space before. I just learned today about gay saunas. I'm wondering if it might fit what I'm looking for. A chance to be naked around strangers in a legal, normal way. I've also read that it's normal to be touched by others in gay saunas.
There's like an 8-way masturbation session going on in the steam room one day, and I'm just like, I love a free show, like that's great, but I was just like, y'all are risking it all. Risking being put on the list.
Yeah, so I think Keon needs to find a new experience. I think that he needs to, crocheting exists, baking bread. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Now be sure to like, share, and follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and Spotify at Just Drawz. That's JUSTDRAWZ. Until next time,